We're going to make some, you've heard of Oyster Rockefeller? Well, that's a pain to make sometimes. We're going to make Crabmeat Rockefeller. We got our shallots finely minced and our garlic finely minced. 1 pound of lump crab meat, not frozen. Fresh baby spinach, a little white wine, Pernod later, and we'll tighten it up with some of this Wonder to make it even easier for you so you don't have to make a roux, because we're going to have enough butter in here. We don't have to have more fat in there with the roux. So that works. The roux works. You can make a cornstarch paste, that works, except it'll be clear. And with the Wonder and the roux, it'll keep it nice and white. And then we'll finish it off. We'll make the sauce with a little heavy cream. This will be very tasty, and then we have to find something to put the crab meat stuffing in. You could use those pastry cups if you can find them, or you make your own. But we're going to put them in Baby Bella mushroom caps. Because the Baby Bella, they don't shrink up as much as the white domestic mushrooms, even though the white domestic are so tasty. And also I'm going to stuff some in zucchini, and I'll show you how to do that. So we have two things to stuff it in. So let's get started with this. Well, you start off with a moderate flame. That's about a half a stick of butter. There's no getting around it. Butter goes in this. So we'll sweat this up. And the next step is going to be to put the spinach in here. And after the spinach, we'll remove the spinach immediately. The spinach will give off a lot of water, and then we'll add the cream. We'll add some white wine in a few seconds after this gets going here. The Pernod will be the last thing to be added when the mixture with the crab meat is complete. And this has to be fairly well seasoned because it's an hors d'oeuvre. And it's going to go into a mushroom cap, which will be bland, and even if we season the mushroom cap, and the same thing with a piece of zucchini. So all hors d'oeuvres have to be seasoned well. You want them to taste good, that's what you have to do. Well, it's been about 2 minutes. This is ready for the spinach. And this is ready for the spinach also. We're going to take it out and watch how quickly this cooks. We don't want to have brown spinach. So, you think it's a lot of spinach? It shrivels up to nothing when you're using fresh spinach. You can season this now, but you don't have to because we're making the sauce. So we can season it later when we're all done. Moderate high flame. Putting in the white wine now. What this will do is help steam it and cook it even quicker. Gotta keep on mixing this. what's on the bottom is getting cooked, and you want the top, all of this to come out evenly cooked. Notice how it's shrinking just fine. Got the highest flame possible. We're almost done. Because when I put this in the colander, you'll see what happens. It'll keep on cooking a little bit. You cannot leave this alone. Just at this point, just about done. There we go. We have that bright green color. Now we're going to reserve the juice too. We can shut it off now. And we're done. Notice? Right into the colander. A lot of juice is going to come off of this. And after the sauce is thick, put the spinach back in. We'll use our immersion tool, and that will puree this. Then we'll add the crab meat at the very end. And after the crab meat comes to a simmer and we shut it off, we put the Pernod. But before that, we'll season it. No, we'll season it after the crab meat, because the crab meat will absorb whatever taste is in there. So we'll season everything after the Pernod's in. And if it tastes good at that point, it'll be delicious when you serve it. Notice all of the liquid coming off of the spinach. So you let that sit for about 15 minutes. And see if you can make a hole in the center. What that'll do, it will keep this from steaming. It'll cool off faster because you don't want the spinach to turn brown on you. You can also take this and put it in the refrigerator. But I think I'll turn on my ceiling fan. This will help. And in a few minutes, as you can see, the steam blowing around will be just fine. So we'll wait until that cools a little, drips, and then we'll continue. Now we're going to add the heavy cream. You can always add more later, so we'll take it easy. Once you do this, you can't take it out, but if you add a little later, that's no problem. When this comes to a boil, we'll put the spinach back in there, get the immersion tool, and work it. There's another way of doing this if you don't have one of these. It's I would take the spinach and put it in the Cuisinart, like first, and then see, even a little more liquid came out. So now you have to work fast. Why? We're going to try and keep the color of the spinach. So get this in there. You know, this is the second time I attempted to do something like this and made a complete mess. So don't do that. take the spinach, put it into the bowl. See, when you know something's going to happen, you shouldn't do it. Most of the time I'm very neat. And then there are times like this. That's it, done. Just get this head off. Look at the mess I made, all over the stove, cream. Anyway, it's still going to be good. So now we'll take that. Turn the fire on. Take the lump crab meat, which you've tasted already, so to make sure it's still good. Like I bought some oysters and that was sitting on the ice in a little plastic container, and it had the date. That was good. Guess what? They weren't. Okay, anyway. That's why most places don't sell the oysters like that, because people don't buy them up fast enough. This is going to be quick at this point. And guess what? We don't have to add any more cream. I'm going to start seasoning this now for the simple reason that I want to taste it, so I know what's in there. So I'm going to take my salt and pepper mix. I tell people to make this. Put sea salt in there. Put the amount of pepper in there you think is good. Taste it. And now you have your salt and pepper mix ready. You don't have to pull out 2 containers. And the problem here is you have to have a taste and know when something is seasoned enough or not enough. The salt will bring out the flavor of everything. Now we have it on a high flame, and we're going to start putting the Wonder in here in a second. I just want to taste this, so I'm liking it already. Seasoned enough. Except for one thing, it's an hors d'oeuvre. So I am going to put in there. The salt and pepper was okay, but I'm going to kick it up a notch, as he might say, with a little hot sauce. My favorite. Sriracha hot chili sauce. Great stuff. A lot of people that work in kitchens use that. And there's another one, the sweet chili sauce. Mix that with this. Very nice. Now if this is hot enough, now before we kill the spinach, let's get the Wonder in there. The second this is thick, we're shutting it off, cool it down, you just add it slowly, Don't get too low or you'll clog up the little holes with the steam that's here. Don't forget, there is more than a half a stick of butter in this mixture here. So you got that flavor in there. And this will make a lot of hors d'oeuvres. A lot. If you're stuffing mushrooms, I bet you can make about 60 mushrooms. Easy. Because how much are you going to put in there? A little bit more. You want this thick so it doesn't run anywhere. It stays right where you put it. See it? Getting thick, but not thick enough. And then after this is made and you stuff whatever you're stuffing, you're just going to dab the top with a little fresh butter. That should do it. Now I'm going to take this and pour it onto a pan, and it'll cool off very quickly. There you go. Notice the thickness. See how it's falling off? And then when it's cold, and the next day, because you're going to use it the next day or the following day, after sitting in the refrigerator overnight, it's even thicker. So that's perfect. Shut it off. Pour this mixture into a pan like so. Is the spinach still green? Yes, it is. And it will be green when you serve it. And that fan is on, you'll see how it's blowing the steam away. So we'll let this cool a little bit, and then I'll make the two different type of stuffings that we're going to place it in. How about the most important item that's supposed to go in there? Oyster Rockefeller is not Oyster Rockefeller without Pernod. So we add it now, which you're supposed to do at the end anyway. Or you could brush it on top of each little piece. Put a dab on it. At least now, when I taste this, it'll remind me of Oyster Rockefeller. How is it now? That is so much better now. So I'm going to stuff a couple of pieces of each, and the zucchini, you'll cut it like about so. About, what is that, like an inch, a little more than an inch. Then you take a melon baller. Work it easy, nice. Don't discard this. This is good to eat. So there you have 1, 2, and just put a little salt, not much, inside in the mushroom. Now the mushroom, I'm using these Baby Bella, and they're kind of firm. I boiled these two for about 3 minutes. Now they're soft and they're perfect. Otherwise, and it's good to get that moisture in there. Now I'm going to use the same melon baller. Fill that zucchini. Now that's a good amount. That's nice. And the mushroom. Now on top of this, I'm going to put some pecorino romano cheese. And I have the broiler on already. So you have to make the top look finished. To put it in a 500-degree oven is not my idea of doing it right. So we'll put a little cheese on it. You can use shredded Swiss cheese too. That fine shred in the packages, you can use that also. Or cheddar cheese, or whatever you like. Oh, now you know the zucchini is raw. So the fact that you're going to warm this up later. So we're going to put this in the oven under the broiler. Now, this is the way that I like to work. If I'm feeding guests, brown off the top, take it out. Later on, before you're ready to serve, you don't want to deal with having too much heat in the oven, or you have to worry about how it's browning. All you have to do now is put it in the oven at about 300 degrees. It'll slowly cook the zucchini. It'll heat up the mushroom with the filling, and you'll be all set. Or you can go another route. You can fill a pan up with the mushrooms, stuffed, with the cheese on it. Just put it in a 500-degree, 450-degree oven. The hotter the better, so you'll get color on the top. But then most likely before the color hits, the item might get a little burnt around the edges. So that's why I like doing it like this. So this will take just a few minutes. Well, it's been a few minutes. Now every broiler works differently. Some are slow, some are fast. Now, that's fine. So what we do is just take the mushroom. These are ready. You could feel the mushroom is hot. So this item is done just under the broiler. It's a different story with the zucchini, but not much. I'm going to retract what I just said. If you can see how I'm squeezing that, what does that tell you? That's done. So there's no need to cook that a little further. All you're going to want to do now, you can make this the day before, just like this. And the following day, take these, put them in something, warm them up slowly, and serve them. And that's it. I'm going to eat one. I have to save the other one for my wife. It's perfect. The mushroom is nice and soft and juicy. I'm tasting the Pernod. You know, when they make Oyster Rockefeller in restaurants, after they put the spinach topping on top in New Orleans, they really don't make this up here in the north like that. At that point, you take the bottle of Pernod and you put a few drops on each oyster on the spinach. Then you throw it in the oven. Anyway, this is very nice. This is the first time I tried making it like this, or in the mushroom. and it works very well. And it gives you an option not to use a pastry item, or to put it in a shell, a real shell, so you have something edible and it looks good. I hope you enjoy.